This show is brought to you by Victor Naraki Realtor, experienced real estate agent serving Disney and the greater Orlando area of celebratingflorida.com. Have you ever dreamed of living where the magic happens? Victor Naraki has made that dream come true for himself and others. One of the biggest decisions you'll make when considering a move is selecting a realtor who can successfully match you with the right home in the right location at the right price. If you're looking to buy or sell in the Orlando area, here's why Victor is the realtor you'll want in your corner. Victor knows the Disney area like the back of his house. By creating a free, no-obligation account on his website, celebratingflorida.com, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to your email. Is it time to follow your dream? Victor is looking forward to helping you discover the real estate opportunities that are right for you in this beautiful and fun-filled part of Florida. Visit celebratingflorida.com today or view Victor's view at victorsvista.com and let Victor know the Solo Show sent you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our final boarding call, and the doors will be closing soon.
Don't worry. She'll hold together.
You're nothing. You're braver than I thought.
Jimmy, baby, hold together.
Thank you.
Broadcasting from the Solo Studios, located behind Bib Fortuna's Tauntaun Burger food truck here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, the center of North America, on this little planet we call Earth. This is the Solo Show. On this adventure, Stan welcomes to the guest host chair Sam Marraccini from the Disney Nerds podcast, Sam's Disney Diaries on YouTube, and Womp Rat Radio on Facebook Live. This time they're talking about the evolution of the Star Wars attractions, the best features they love, and what they'd love to see next. Feeling some Star Wars love right now. So now, please welcome your host, the choreographer for the Max Rebo House Band. Here's Stan Solo.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Solo Show. I am Stan Solo as always, and joining me is my good friend and yours, Sam from Sam's Disney Diaries. Sam, welcome aboard.
What is going on, Stan? Hello and welcome back. I love that introduction, man. I kind of use that sometimes. It's good.
I make my introductions short but sweet.
Yeah, that's exactly it. What's new, man? How are you?
I am amazing, but you already knew that.
I did know that. That's why I asked you, because I knew you were going to say that.
How are you doing there, Sam?
I'm doing good, man. I'm getting a little anxious to get back to Disney World. I have a trip scheduled in June. I'm happy about that. There's lots of things happening.
Oh, nice. And we got Star Wars Celebration coming up, and
Celebration dates have been changed.
Yeah,
it got sooner than later, and that's great because everything's been pushed back. Now we're moving it forward.
I'm kind of nervous about it being moving forward. I hope I can go.
So here's my dilemma, Stan. They moved it from August when I planned to go, which was around D23 Expo 2, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And now they moved it to what is a holiday weekend in the States, and that just makes it a little more difficult for me. So I got to see what's going to happen.
Oh, it's a holiday weekend here as well.
Okay. So I don't know why they would do that. Yeah. Why are you picking a holiday weekend to kick off the summer? Which, by the way, we're just about to celebrate in a week or two here in 2021. And while I'm going through everything that we do for the summertime, I'm thinking to myself, do I want to do this next year or do I want to be at Celebration? Well, I want to do both. It's a hard one. It's hard.
I'm doing Celebration. I don't care about anything else. That's my number one.
All right. I get it.
So people that are regular listeners to the show, you might remember Sam. He was on our 50th show.
Oh, yeah. I beat Panda.
Yeah.
I beat Panda. I think. I don't remember.
It was kind of a draw, I think. But you won. Panda did. You cheated.
I won because Panda's not here. He cheated.
Exactly. Yeah. So you talked a little bit about Sam's Disney Diaries.
Yeah.
On that show, you talked about how you went to the Waltz Museum.
Yeah, the Family Museum in California, in the Presidio, just outside of San Francisco. And that's where I decided, you know what, I'm going to record myself. And I have, look, at the end of the day, YouTube, Sam's Disney Diary, or the podcast that was out there sometimes, or the website. It's just my way of taking some of the content that I have, whether it's things that I have from tape years ago, or it's stuff that I recorded in the parks last year. and just getting it out there and saying, this is cool, because there's so many people like yourself that just love this stuff and enjoy it. So
right.
That's what it's been.
And you were at D23 in 2019, and you did
I was
a recording. And it's like how long is that episode you have with D23 recap? Like 2
that
hours
was
or?
so I was at 15, 17, and 19, and I think I might have been at one before that. I don't remember. Which, by the way, it is a family outing for me. I take the entire family because everybody loves it.
Oh, nice.
My daughter's waiting in line to meet celebrities. I'm in the archives center waiting for, the Disneyland 1959 retrospective, which was the last session of that, which is a video, but love it. Talking about 1959 and everything that Walt did, from the monorails, the monorail plus the submarines plus Matterhorn Mountain, all in the same summer. Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
I think so. 1959, and here's what. So Walt Disney in 1959 became the commander of the 9th largest submarine fleet in the world, installed the first steel roller coaster in Matterhorn Mountain, and the first daily running monorail in the Western Hemisphere. All of that in the same year at Disneyland. It's crazy when you think about it.
Man, it's insane.
And it's cool. And they talked about the history of that. And here's what was best in the history, and going through the archivists that are on stage. They talked a lot about how Walt would tell Roy one thing and then tell his Imagineer something completely different. Like, don't worry about him, just go do it. We'll figure it out later how we're going to get the money. And it's such cool inside stories. I love it.
Well, you know the story about the gold spirals or spears. What do they call them at the top of the castle?
The spires. Yes.
The spires. Yeah. Well, they're actual gold at Disneyland. You know the story about that, right?
Yeah, tell me the story, Stan. I want to hear.
So Walt wanted real gold spires. And Roy said, no, we're painting in gold. We can't, that's not in the budget. So Walt sent Roy overseas to do some kind of special project to look for something. And as he was gone, he ordered it and got him installed and worried about paying for him afterwards.
Yeah. Very similar story to the submarines that they tell in that. But anyway.
Yeah.
And dude, the Easter Day parades, the Christmas Day parades, these things that as a child I would wake up and need to watch these that they just don't do anymore. Mm-hmm. So I had them on VHS. So let's put them on YouTube, see what happens.
Perfect.
And they're there.
So one of the videos you have, you recorded at D23 Expo, they call it the Star Wars Hotel, but it's not really a hotel, the Star Wars Galactic Cruiser that's coming to Walt Disney World. And if you want to see it, you go on Sam's Disney Diaries, and he has the entire.
It's the parks. It's the parks and resorts panel, which is an hour and a half long, and it covers everything that was going to happen. Which, by the way, it's interesting now as we hopefully get to the end of COVID. Knock on wood. Some of the things that happened, like Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway. Mm-hmm. And the Tron coaster, which is under construction, and some things that kind of happened, but we haven't seen announced, like the Space 220 restaurant. We think it's done and it's ready to be announced, but we haven't heard anything. And then other things that have flat out just not happened, like Spaceship Earth and everything that was going to happen with it. But it's sort of cool to see that this Star Wars Galactic Cruiser that was a pretty big part of the announcement. Construction continued. It didn't stop. And it's amazing what they're building and how they're extending what they've done at Batuu in the Hollywood studios.
Exactly. So I thought I'm going to get Sam on and we'll talk about what we know, what we want, and what we think the Galactic Cruiser is going to have.
Those are great points. And by the way, before we do that, we talked about Sam Disney Diary, but dude, I'm going to talk about Womp Rat Radio.
Yeah,
because I want to thank you for being part of Womp Rat Radio. It was sort of a spin-off of what I've done with the Disney Nerds and Sam's Disney Diary and yourself to say, Star Wars is awesome. Look at Mandalorian and what's happened. And now the Bad Batch is even cooler and some of the connections that we're making. And I only bring this up, Stan, because we know that those connections, Mandalorian, Bad Batch, the movies, the comic books, the novels, it's all going to connect back to this quote unquote hotel. And I can't wait to see how it does.
And if you're a Star Wars fan, you gotta be listening to Womp Rat Radio, because I tell you, Sam explains Star Wars better than anybody I know. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, but you're interested in Star Wars and you kind of want to tiptoe and kind of get to know, Sam will explain it in a way that people will understand that aren't huge Star Wars fans.
I appreciate that, Stan. And here's the way I think of it for all you listening. It has to be fun. If it's not fun, why? This is entertainment at the end of the day. At the end of the day, this is Lucasfilms pulling together some entertainment. If people love to dissect it and drill into the details and look at these little fine points, and I do too, but I also understand that for a newbie, it doesn't matter. I mean, is this a good guy or is this a bad guy? And who's he going to grow up to be? And what happens to Baby Yoda or Grogu when Luke takes him? Spoiler, sorry. But who knows? We can speculate. Yeah, spoiler, sorry.
Well, if you don't know that yet, then got you. Everybody knows. Well, that's just it. That's exactly it. And so check it out, Womp Rat Radio. It's available on iTunes, on YouTube, and
yes, and Facebook Live every other Thursday starting I don't know when, but come and see us. Well, just like the page, and then you'll be alerted when we're going to live, and you can come ask Stan and I questions on the fly and say, Stan, are you related to Han or Han?
Second, I think Jimmy always says it's a second cousin of Han.
Either way.
So the D23 Expo, they talked about what is it? It's a horrible name. The Halcyon. The
Halcyon. Not only did they talk about it, they showed us a model of it in the parks, the parks exhibit, the parks pavilion. Is that what they call it on the expo show floor? And they just showed us this ship, and we sort of looked at it and said, yeah, it kind of sort of looks like a cross between one of the rebel medical frigates and some other things. It's kind of interesting. It definitely fits in the Star Wars universe, but they just showed it to us as a ship. It's like,
it kind of had a Tatooine 5 almost look to it.
Yes. You could tell it definitely was not Empire, but it was Star Wars indeed, right?
Yeah. Now, when I happened to stand by to go look at the model of the ship on the floor of Expo, one of the Imagineers was standing right there that was working on the ship. So I said to him, I said, how much is it going to cost to stay here? Like a couple $100? He goes, it might be a bit more than that. He also happened to be the Imagineer that worked on Smuggler's Run. He was one of the head Imagineers for Smuggler's Run. And my buddy I was with, Scott Clark, he asked him, he says, in the Smuggler's Run, how many cockpits are there in the Millennium Falcon? And he kind of hummed and hawed and heard and hawed. And I said to him, your answer should be there's only one cockpit.
That's right.
On the Millennium Falcon. He goes, yes, that's right. There's only one cockpit on the Millennium
That's exactly right. There's only one. And nobody would ever admit to how many until we saw it on the Imagineering story on Disney Plus, by the way. You can see it there and how the thing works. But
well, that's what he said. He said you can go online and I'm sure you could do some research and you find the answer. He says because the ones that are online are very, very accurate and close to what it is, he said.
Yeah, but you know what? There is only one, and that's the beauty here, Stan. You are immersing yourself into a story, and Galaxy's Edge is all about being part of that story. And we've talked on Womp Rat Radio before. Mm-hmm. Galaxy's Edge is a very specific point in time. It's after the Last Jedi, before the Rise of Skywalker. So that gives you an idea what characters are present. You have Kylo Ren, you got Rey, you got Chewie, you got those characters getting ready for that final battle in the Rise of Skywalker. And that's the
Poe's X-Wing is parked there.
Poe's X-Wing's out there. You got it. Yeah. And that's the time frame that we're in for Galaxy's Edge. And it's so much different than the rumors that we heard earlier on or what Star Wars Land was going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but some of the early things back when Lucas was first acquired by Disney, we were hearing about, they're going to take out Echo Lake and there's going to be an X-Wing spinner ride and an R2-D2 meet and greet and all of these little like off-the-shelf attractions that would get themed to Star Wars. And at some point, Bob Iger or the story group or somebody stepped in and said, no, we have an opportunity to do so much more than just theme some attractions to Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that thinking goes right through to the Halcyon, the Star Wars cruiser, because this is not a quote unquote Star Wars hotel. This is a Star Wars experience, right? When you say hotel, here's the first thing I think. Oh, we're going to stay over at the Finding Nemo suites at Art of Animation. And you immediately have an idea what that means.
And, they're themed and they're cute.
Yeah, and they're cute. And you get your picture taken in front of the Nemo's thing and you play in the big
and then you go to Magic Kingdom.
Then you go to Magic Kingdom or Epcot. You get on the bus and you go wherever. And even if I'm staying someplace else, I could visit it and get my picture taken over at Pop Century in front of the giant Big Wheel. Right? I could do that because I used to ride one of those when I was a kid. This is cool. Check this out. And I think a lot of people think the Star Wars Hotel will be a place where you can go and visit and it's themed to Star Wars, but that's not at all what this is. This is a 2-day, 2-night experience that they described to us back in 2019 at the Expo, but I don't think a lot of people got that.
No. So when you do Rise of Resistance, you're living Star Wars for 15 minutes.
You are living a battle in Star Wars. And without getting too involved, if you check the Rise of Skywalker art, the illustration book that comes with it, and you look at the timeline, there is a timeline for The Last Jedi, a timeline for the Battle of Batuu, and a timeline for the Rise of Skywalker. So you have to ask yourself, what is the Battle of Batuu? The Battle of Batuu are the events that take place during the Rise of the Resistance attraction that you lived.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah. So what you're doing is you're living Star Wars on the attraction. Now you're going to go to this Halcyon and live it for 2 days. So you're basically doing Rise of Resistance for 2 days is basically what you're doing with this.
You are living an adventure for 2 days.
Yeah.
And let's start with that because this is, and they describe it in the video, you have to compare this to a Disney cruise ship.
Yes.
And the fact that everyone arrives at the port at the same time, which is why the Star Wars Galactic Space Cruiser is limited in capacity. There's only about 250 rooms. That's tiny.
Yeah.
So you're talking less, it's like 500 to 1,000 people is what you're talking about. They all show up at the same time. Now compare that to one of the Disney's boats, 4,000 people showing up on the big boats, right? All getting there at the same time, getting on the boat. And when that boat pulls away, you're gone. You're disconnected, right?
I guess my question is so you take the shuttle, you get in and there's a shuttle and you blast off of the planet and you're taken out in space and you see the stars going by and there's windows on this shuttle and you are air docked to the Halcyon.
Yes.
The doors open up.
That's exactly, you quoted what she said on stage, by the way.
You walk out and they go, Disney Halcyon welcomes the Solo family.
You know what? I don't know. Star Wars. I was wondering exactly that, but you just covered a bunch of things because you show up in your car, your Uber, your Magical Express, or whatever that will be in 2022, the Mir shuttle, with or you've luggage. Come from more realistically, you're coming straight from the airport, or you're coming from another Disney resort where you've stayed a few days.
Yeah, or you're local.
Or you're local.
Yeah.
You show up, you park your car, you walk into this spaceport, which is the hotel entrance, and it looks just like Port Canaveral. That's sort of the look and feel that they give it. You show up, you walk in, you check in, and you get on your shuttle, which, like you said, takes you off to the Halcyon. And you dock at the Halcyon, and you come aboard, and now you're no longer on Earth. You are now on the Star Wars ship that's somewhere above the planet, and you're about to start your cruise into the Star Wars galaxy. Blows my mind.
And I worry about getting seasick. Now I'm getting space sick.
Well, and think about it. If you look at some concept art, right? So here's what's interesting. They showed us a picture of this ship, but they didn't build a ship. And I remember people saying, "Oh, they're just building a hotel." Well, yeah, from the outside, you're gonna see trees and things all around it. But on the inside, it's going to appear that you're inside this spaceship. There's no windows to look out. There's no walking out to a bus to go to Magic Kingdom, right? Because you're on this Star Wars adventure. Instead, you're looking out your window and you're flying in space. And you're looking at...
Disney's going to do it right. Because when you pull up, you're not going to see the hotel at all. You're going to just see a port. It's going to look like a spaceport.
It's going to look like a spaceport. You're going to get on a ship and you're going to take off. But that's cool. Think about this.
I'm picturing, in Solo, when Kira and Han were trying to leave the planet.
Yes.
And they had to put the credits in the thing, and he ended up bribing the guard and the gates open. I mean, it won't be like that because it's not going to be under Imperial rule, but similar to that type of spaceport is what I'm picturing.
Yes, I hope so. It's a spaceport. It looks like an airport. You get on your shuttle takes you off. And then when you get to that spot, you're arriving with all the other people that are starting the same cruise. But now here's what's so interesting in the part that I can't wait to see how they do this. They're going to gamify this in a way that you are living a Star Wars experience through all of the technology that's taken us this far. There's going to be parts of every patent that they've talked about, parts of just allowing you to experience things while the person next to you is experiencing a different thing. But it's all interconnected, and that's what's going to be so cool about this.
Yeah. And what I hope they do with the launch is I hope that they have several different shuttles. They're not going to be so like, how you have different elevators on a building.
Dude, that's exactly what it is.
Have different shuttles. So when you take off, you can see the shuttle, like the Solo family is going in this shuttle, the Clark family is going in the shuttle next, and we could see their shuttle out the window.
Absolutely.
Going beside it.
That's exactly it, dude. Because at the end of the day, what is it? There's probably 6 elevators in there, and they look like banks, and you go in, and it closes up, and it starts to shake, and it moves a little bit, and it's taking you up like 2 floors. But it feels like you're traveling thousands of miles because of the things happening. I mean, that's the way they do it. It's the hydrolators all over again, dude. But not in 1982 in 2021.
Yeah. So now this is like a cruise ship. So you go into your room, and
which, by the way, start there. The room looks like the room that you would have on a cruise boat. It's small. It's cramped. It's bunk beds. This is not the most luxurious facilities by any stretch of the imagination in Disney. This looks like a cruise ship barracks. Like, here you go. There's the bunk beds. Here's the other bed. There's a remote control for the TV. We'll see you in the morning. But by the way, there is also a window that, hello, Disney Cruise Lines, a magic portal. That window is your window into space, into the places you're traveling by, into the things you're going through. So I'm going to assume you've been on a Disney cruise before.
I've been on the Star Wars Disney cruise.
Okay. So when you're on a cruise line, you go to the channel on your TV and it shows you where you are on the island, right? And it shows where you're going and what you're coming up against next. I want to turn that TV on and see that we're passing Tatooine, and Hoth is coming up, and there's Dagobah, and there's all. I just think about the things that you can pass by on your way to the Outer Rim to get to Batuu, which is one of your stops. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, and I kind of had a bit of that, like on the Star Wars cruise with the port window, because I had an interior room, so I had the virtual port window on the Fantasy.
You experienced the prototype of what the space cruiser is, Dan.
Yes. So normal days they would have like that starfish from Nemo. You'd wake up in the morning and he'd be stuck to your port window.
Sure.
Or Donald Duck would
Somebody get me out of here. You say that and all I imagine is the attraction in Epcot. Sorry.
Star Wars Day at Sea.
Okay.
I wake up, I look at my virtual port window, and the Death Star's in the sky.
Oh, how cool is that?
And an X-Wing flies by, and then later on a TIE Fighter flies by.
You lived some of the things, the technology that's going to bring itself into the Galactic Space Cruiser. And it's awesome.
Yeah. So that's my tip. If you're doing a Star Wars Day at Sea, get the interior room on the Fantasy. Rather than the port.
There's something to be said for those in general. They sell out fast too. What other cruise line sells out their interior cabins first? Yeah. Tell me Disney hasn't figured something out here. Holy cow.
Yeah. So you're in this tiny quarters that you paid too much money for.
Which by the way, that gets back and nobody ever answered. But but this is also all inclusive. So you're paying to get aboard this cruise ship, spaceship, for 2 days. You're paying for all your meals. You're paying for all of the things that you would expect.
You're entertained.
Although I'm sure they'll come up with quote unquote excursions that will cost you more. Like maybe for an extra $250, you can have an excursion to Savi's workshop and make a lightsaber. Just saying, but that's probably part of this, right?
Yeah.
Speculation.
Yeah. Now that is something. I don't know if I'd want to spend my time, because you can do Savi's workshop anyways, wielding a lightsaber.
Absolutely, you can. Yes.
Yeah. But I could see people going for it on those days. What type of is there going to be special meals? I'm assuming.
Oh, I'm assuming those meals are going to come straight out of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
I am assuming that. I mean, look at the connections they've made already. You and I have talked about this before, and why you listening should go back and watch Womp Rat Radio, where we broke down the menu board in The Mandalorian when two Mandalorians walk into a bar, Boba Fett and Mando. And by the way, that's the start of every good joke. And they sit down in front of Bo-Katan, and behind her is a menu board. And if you freeze it and translate it, you'll find that the items on the menu board match Docking Bay 7 at Galaxy's Edge, where you can buy the Tip Ya Chicken, which is on this menu board in the Star Wars universe. So I have a feeling there's going to be Tip Ya Chicken. There's going to be all of these different fruits and vegetables that we've become known through Rebels and other Star Wars things. I can't wait to see the menu. Give me one of everything. If it's like a cruise ship stand, give me two of everything.
Give me two. I'll have a bantha steak and a tauntaun steak.
Is it a tauntaun steak or is it? Yeah.
Is that eating a horse?
No. What's the? I don't know. What was the tip yip was the chicken, but thinking back to now, I'm going to say Lego special. What was the roast? It looked like a turkey, but I forget what they called it. Was it the tip yip?
There was a tip yip on
okay. All right,
Lego special.
It looked like a turkey. It looked like Thanksgiving dinner.
So, when you go on a cruise ship, they have entertainment.
Yes, they
haven't talked too much about entertainment on this. The concept art, they had a singer kind of on a stage.
There was some concept art, and it's all that we saw was some concept art of what looked like one of the dancers that was in Jabba's place.
Kind of, yeah. So, what type of entertainment would you expect on a cruise ship like this?
Oh, I'll tell you what I'd love to see, but I don't think they're going to do it because it doesn't fit.
Let me know. You're the Imagineer right now, Sam. What do you want to
see? But here's the thing. So I'm an Imagineer, and I still go of the standpoint of, and this gets back to a bigger question. And before I answer the question directly, I want to digress because that's what I do, Stan. I'm sorry. We talked about the timeline before, in the timeline of when Galaxy's Edge happens and when this cruise happens in the Star Wars timeline. And in that timeline, there is no Darth Vader, right? In the timeline, we're specific to a number of people and places and things.
Please don't tell me you want to see that dancing.
No, I want to see the Cantina Band from A New Hope.
Okay, that's fine.
That's what I want to see. But I don't know that fits this timeline, right? Although when you say Jabba the Hutt sail barge, the lips that come out, I forget what she was singing. But at the same time, okay, here's another Sam's Disney Diary from D23 Expo, the same one, The Sounds of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And the soundtrack for Galaxy's Edge and the things that Rex plays in Olga's Cantina and how they came up with the songs. It's an amazing 1 hour breakout session that was in the main theater where they actually had one of the artists perform one of the songs. So that could be what you have here. I don't know.
Yeah. What about that scene where Anakin and Palpatine are sitting in the theater?
The opera.
That opera with those lights flashing around.
What was it?
That looked boring as heck.
It looked boring. The conversation was boring as heck, but it's pivotal in the Star Wars saga if you really listen to it. But when I first saw that, I remember thinking, "What the hell is this?" But then you get the famous lines there, right?
Darth Plagueis.
Darth Plagueis. It's an ability Jedi would consider unnatural.
Yeah. So I don't know if I want to see those, but it'd be cool to see something that we've never seen before. I'm thinking.
I think we're more likely to see something we never saw before, but you'll know that it's Star Wars when you see it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the spaceship itself. Never saw it before, but it's Star Wars.
As soon as you saw it, you went, that's Star Wars.
Yeah, it's Star Wars because it would fit on that scene in Rise of Resistance when Lando shows up with all the spaceships that go boom out of nowhere. It's one of those. It fits right in.
The cast members or crew, if you want to call them, On the D23 stage, they said that they're going to be an alien crew, and there'll be creatures that we're familiar with and creatures we've never seen before.
Now that's huge, Stan. That's huge because when they say creatures we're familiar with, I think, Mon Calamari. I think, what Greedo is. I think all these species that we've seen in Mandalorian now and we've seen in all the Star Wars universe.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that we haven't seen, ooh. And is it possible that some that we haven't seen, we get to see in the Bad Batch for the first time, and then they show up in? I mean, the story group's been good at tying stuff together.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see Grogu. Come on, let's see Baby Yoda. In the timeline, he should be about 75 years old. By the way, this is a Womp Rat Radio that you guys got to go listen to. In the timeline of Star Wars, Baby Yoda should be about 75 years old. And what you need to understand is that species, based on Yoda, lives to be about 850 years old. And Yoda became a Jedi Master at the age 100. And in this timeline, Grogu should be 75. He should be deep into his training.
Yeah. He should
Come on. Well, this is why, Stan, they're absolutely, and I know people don't, some people are, this blows their mind, but there absolutely can be a Baby Yoda, a Grogu meet and greet in Galaxy's Edge, and it fits the timeline.
That makes sense.
By the way, we don't know what happens to Mando yet. Mando season 3 hasn't come out, and Mandalorian wears an outfit. So it's very possible that Mando and Grogu could both be in Galaxy's Edge and fit the timeline.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Now, granted, Mandalorian would probably be about 65 years old, but sure, why not? Right? He's the older, but when he's underneath the suit, how do you know how old he is? Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, that was one, because I've heard people say, oh, he can't be there. It doesn't fit the timeline. Yes, it does. This is, what are we in the timeline? 9 years after? No, I'm sorry. We are at about 29 after. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
Watch Womp Rat Radio. We got all kind of time.
He'll but yeah, that's the thing.
Confuse myself.
Creatures. I'm assuming there'll be Wookiees walking around.
That would be cool.
Droids. Now, when I went to Star Wars Celebration, they were talking about Galaxy's Edge before it opened, and they talked about droids being part of the people. Like there'll be droids driving around.
Just walking around.
Yeah. Which I could see, like, for legality reasons, the lawyers kind of went, you might want to rethink that before they run over someone's foot.
I think the problem, Stan, was they didn't account for rolling those droids over all of the grooves and the things that were in the pavement, because the pavement isn't smooth. Yeah. So they did all their testing on smooth pavement, and then they put it in Galaxy's Edge, and it didn't work that well.
Oh, okay.
But if you're inside a hotel where you got a flat floor, there should be no reason why you can't have a robot or two, or an animatronic Grogu, or all kind of things. I mean, he could show up on this.
Because I think it would be awesome. You're going down the corridor and a mouse droid passes you.
Or, yeah, absolutely.
Cool,
stops and goes beep, 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 and it speeds away. Yeah, you can yell at him, Rawr, and he turns around. That was a horrible Chewbacca. I'm sorry.
So this is going to be an adventure, and of course, if you're on a Star Wars adventure, you're at war. You're in a time period where war is happening.
The second word in the title, isn't it?
I'm guessing at some point of your 2-day experience, something bad could happen.
I think Kylo Ren's looking around. Yeah, there's going to be something bad happen.
So, what are your thoughts on?
Well, but you get back to, this is a classic hero's journey, right? Hero's journey in storytelling is, at the beginning of the story, you have a person that's going about their daily lives. Everything's great. Something bad happens. They have to overcome the adversity, and at the end of it, they're in a much better place. The original Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, farm kid, not doing much. Something bad happens at the end of it. He's the hero. It's the hero's journey.
So now you're playing the part of...
You're the hero. Exactly. So you're showing up. Everything's cool. You're going to be part of this cool 2-day cruise. It's going to be fun.
You're on vacation. Not worrying about work anymore.
Something's going to go wrong. And you're going to have to come over it somehow. Now, in the way Disney's laid it out, you go to Batuu. You spend time there. You meet people. The gaming system allows you to earn credits. You have to earn credits to buy things. You buy things for people because you bribed them. There are so many ways this can go. I can't wait to live.
Yeah,
I really can't.
Yeah. So I'm very curious about the story of how it's gonna play out. We have talked about all right, we have been told that there's going to be a shuttle that goes from the Halcyon to Batuu.
Yeah, it's a natural, right?
Yeah.
It's going to go to Batuu, but I don't see. So here's what's got me. I would expect that they keep you so busy that you don't even consider leaving Galaxy's Edge. I mean, you're not running over to ride Slink Dog. I don't think so. Right? I think they're going to keep you so busy that there's going to be things within Galaxy's Edge that we have not experienced yet that are going to be there for guests of the Halcyon and the Star Cruiser.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That is exactly
and I'm
what
even
I was thinking,
like when you go to Epcot and you participate in the DuckTales game, which is supposed to come out replacing the Agent P, right? Something like that. There has to be things that we don't know about. You're going to go into Doc Ondor's and you're going to say something to a cast member that they're going to pull you aside and interesting things are going to happen. Or they're going to say, well, how many credits do you have? And somehow on your Magic Band or in your phone, you're going to have these credits from the game that you're playing, and you're going to use them to acquire something. And everyone else in that place is going to go, oh my gosh, how did you get that? Where did you get that? I don't know if it's the lightsaber that retracts. Probably not. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there's going to be something that you then take back to the Star Cruiser and you give to somebody there, and they give you something in return. I mean, that's the potential. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Kind of like that, like you're familiar with, I'm sure, the gift card that you can get on Batuu.
Yes.
The metal gift card.
Yeah, it looks
the
like
first time I went to the Droid Factory, and I said to the cast member working behind the desk, I said, I understand that I can get Imperial credits at this location. And the cast member played along. It was so cool. He kind of looked around.
Best cast members
nobody
anywhere.
Watching.
Best anywhere.
He opened up a drawer very slowly, and he pointed at the drawer. And he goes, "Is this what you're talking about?" It was like I was like,
"Do they have Beskar anywhere?" I want Beskar.
Yeah. I was playing part of the experience. It was really
played
neat.
Right in.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the beauty of this, because I've even just walking into Galaxy's Edge and seeing Val Marrara, who is, if you know the storyline, you know that's Princess Leia's spy that she has sent to Batuu to find out if it's a good spot for a rebel base. And they start to set up the rebel base on the outskirts of town, which turns into Rise of Resistance. And on the other side of town, Kylo Ren's shuttle has just landed. Kylo Ren is looking for the spy and trying to find the Resistance. And that's kind of where they all come together. But if you see Vi, you can yell things like "Kill the Spire" or "Light the Spark," and she'll respond back, and it's so cool.
Yeah,
some of those things.
I love that part, and I hope that they have more of that with this cruise.
I absolutely think they will.
Yeah. So they also announced. Now they announced this also about Galaxy's Edge, and I haven't experienced yet at Galaxy's Edge.
Okay.
That the choices you make are going to determine how you're treated, or how your outcome, or how your experience is going to be. Yeah.
They
is that going to happen?
They talked about it early on. I think Disney put themselves in a little bit of a pickle, and it didn't work out exactly as they thought it would, because here's was the thinking, and it sounds really cool. You go to ride Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Yeah. Depending on how your ride goes, you can really bang that ship up and bring it back limping in with the cargo and say, "Hey, we'll see ya." In which case, Hondo can go, "What did you do to my ship? What are you doing? Get back here. You owe me money." And then he sends people out looking for you.
Yeah.
I think,
and they said, they talked about that at Star Wars Celebration. They said, then you go to Dark Ondor's, and your experience at Dark Ondor's might not be what you expect, because you crashed up the Falcon. And I remember we left that panel going, "Okay, guys, that's what we're going to do: smash up the Falcon."
Well, exactly. Exactly. And either the technology wasn't quite ready, or they had a situation where you had youngsters, and I didn't realize this. It's natural for me to sit inside the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon and pull backwards to go up and push forward to go down. Yeah. Right. That's the way that you fly. Mm-hmm. But I also realized that the younger generation who has been playing Xbox and other games forever, it doesn't work that way.
Oh, okay.
They push up to go up, and they push down to go down.
Right.
Which sort of makes sense. So the first time I rode this with my youngest son, he was frustrated as heck because he kept crashing because he's pushing it the wrong way. He didn't know that you pull back to go up and you push up to go down.
Yeah.
So he completely crashed the thing and he was upset about it. And someone said afterwards, "Oh, great job flying." And he was mad. He was like, "No, that I'm not happy with that." And I think maybe that was part of their issue.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. But it's just a different way of looking at it.
And the other thing too is when you're dealing with the general public that is just going for a ride, not going for an attraction.
Exactly.
I mean, I've been on Smuggler's Run, and there was two ladies sitting in the front seat, and they were sitting there with their hands behind their at their side.
Well, they're on a ride.
Yeah, they're waiting for the ride to happen.
Right. Right.
So,
but I think it's a different clientele. The 500 people that checked into the hotel.
Yeah.
Because they're there to live the experience.
Yeah.
That's different.
So I'm hoping that's going to be the way it is.
Yeah. And by the way, I want to get back to this before we forget it. One of the pieces of concept art we saw were this Jedi training that you would do either in your room or in one of their facilities.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about with the remote.
Yes, with the remote, with
Luke did in A New Hope.
A New Hope. Yeah,
yes.
He put the mask on and the thing floats around and shoots him and use the Force, Luke. That's when we first heard all that stuff. But that lightsaber that they showed that came out with the light looked awesome. And then Disney said more to come on Star Wars Space Cruiser. Yes. I think that may somehow tie into that training. I'm not sure, but man, the patents and everything we've seen coming, to see it work, or we think work, to see somebody hold it, Rey in this particular video, to flip the switch and it goes up. That was so cool.
That was such a cool video. I love that video. That got me even more excited than I was excited before.
Yeah,
for this whole experience.
So I think the bottom line though is it going to be so? Worth is an opinion. And everybody asks, you see it all over on Facebook. Is this worth that? Is it worth it? Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Worth is strictly an opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't know yet if it's going to be worth it or not. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like if it's $10,000, then no, it's not worth it for me.
No. Well, what's a 2-day Disney cruise? I don't think they have a 2-day Disney cruise.
No, I think 3 is the shortest.
3 is the shortest. And Disney Cruise Lines are much more expensive than Carnival or Royal Caribbean. They know that, but they also know they have a better product.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. The concept art, we got to see a hologram sabacc table. For people that don't know, sabacc is a card game in the Star Wars universe that is kind of similar to poker.
Idiot Array. I have an Idiot Array.
Yes, that's the goal. Instead of getting blackjack, you want to get an Idiot Array. Which is
if you saw Solo, it's the game where Han wins the Millennium Falcon.
Right.
Now I'm also interested in and I'm blanking on the name, Stan, I should know this, the chess table that Chewie plays in A New Hope, and the
holographic chess, we'll call it.
We'll call it that because I'm blanking on the name, but that would be really cool to play.
That would be cool.
I could play that all night. So okay, to me that's worth a night right there.
Well, not if it's $10,000, but
not if it's $10,000. Yeah. Well, we talking Canadian or no? Never mind.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's just it. I want to try seeing these concept art. Every time a new concept art comes out, other than the rooms, that was I kind of went, but everything else that came out, I got really excited about.
Yeah, and we saw some concept art of the quote unquote shuttle that will take you from the space cruiser to Batuu. Because when you're on, it's just like a boat. If you're on a cruise ship, you get on the little boat to take you to the island because the big boat can't get in far enough. So clearly you're going to hover over top of Batuu at Galaxy's Edge, and they're going to then dock you on a smaller shuttlecraft, and that shuttlecraft's going to take you down to Black Spire Outpost on Batuu. That's kind of cool.
And that was a thing. So now you could go to visit Galaxy's Edge on a normal park day ticket.
Sure.
People are saying, I don't want to go to visit Batuu on my cruise ship days, but then you don't get to experience that shuttle.
Well, but I think you're going to Batuu to continue your game, to get those credits, to meet that person, to continue the story. I don't think you're not going to experience Galaxy's Edge the same way a normal guest does.
Yeah.
You're going to go and do things that you can't do unless you're on the Galactic Space Cruiser.
Yeah,
It gets back to what I said
there
before.
might even be a hidden room in Rise of Resistance
That's what I mean.
to take you into or something like.
In Rise, or you could go into a Doc Ondor's and say some code word, and they take you into a room. It's like, where did this come from?
Yeah,
I mean, those are some of the possibilities. So cool. Or at Olga's, you could go into the canteen, or they could have a reservation already for you set at Olga's, and you need to go there to meet somebody. So how cool would it be to walk into Olga's and
so cool.
They tell you that, oh yeah, your table's over there, which happens to be a room that not everybody can get to. And in that room is a character from the Star Wars universe waiting to have a conversation with you because of the mission that you're on. How cool is that? It doesn't even have to be Rey. Give me Chewbacca. Give me Chewie back there. Give me Val back there. Give me any character, right? Because now
give me R2D2 and C3PO even.
It's fine. But do you see what I'm saying? So you're going to experience this completely different.
Yeah.
Because imagine that. There's a line all the way back around to get into Olga's Cantina. You show up with some special lanyard, a medallion, or something that you show the person. They look at their schedule. You're there the time you're supposed to be there, and they say, come right here. And they escort you into some back room. Yeah. And you're now back there with Hondo and Naka making some deal. Or maybe it's not even Hondo. Maybe it's a character we don't even know yet because that character is part of the Star Cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
I that's where my mind gets blown, and that's why answering those questions, Stan, may be the is it worth it part for me. Getting answers to those questions. But then I'm also hope that I'm not setting myself up for disappointment that this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? There's just so many spots. If you go to the blue milk stand, then at the blue milk stand, ask for whoever, or around from the blue milk stand, across from Olga's, there's a spot that looks like it should be restrooms, but it isn't. Maybe there's something there, or outside around the corner at the droid depot where all the droids are outside and people like to take pictures. It looks like it's unfinished. Maybe there's something in there. I don't know.
There's all sorts of like hidden doors that have control panels on them that never open.
Maybe they will now. How cool would that be?
Maybe your magic band opens those.
Oh, or whatever they give you on the cruiser.
Yeah.
The special key. So I can't wait to see this.
So because we're on a cruise ship, there's a bridge and there's an engine room.
Yeah.
So these are two areas that guests will be able to visit. That's been confirmed. This isn't Sam and Stan making our wish list. This is something that we can actually do. So that's going to be
there's a cantina on it too. There's a cantina on
and
board
cantina,
too.
yes.
Yeah.
So this is going to be something we've never experienced before because we've never been on a bridge of a big ship. And we've never been in an engine room of any Star Wars ship.
That's right. I don't even know if we've seen an engine room, have we? I don't know.
I don't think so. I can't recall off the top of my head, but I don't think so. And it's not like Star Trek where you got the Dilithium crystals. It's something completely different in Star Wars.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I can't wait to see these things.
Yeah. So
I can't wait to experience these things. But so the bottom line, Stan, is it's not a hotel. It's an experience.
Right. So let's cut to the chase.
When are we going?
Thoughts on how much you think this is going to cost? What are the
I
rumors and what have you heard?
So I haven't really heard anything because I've kind of tuned it out, to be honest with you. But I think you're going to pay like a cruise ship. You know, passenger 1 and 2 are going to be the most expensive. And then if you add 3 or 4, they'll be discounted off of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for a family of 4, you're talking at least $1,000 a night. That's $2,000 for the 2 days.
Yeah.
And I think I'm on the low side.
I think you're on the low side with a family of 4. I think for a family of 2, like a husband and wife going, I'm thinking $2,000. If not, that seems low almost.
Well, you're all inclusive too. So yeah. You also see, a quick Google search will return that it's going to be about $1,000 per person per day. Yeah.
And chances are it's going to be double occupancy. So if you're going solo, it's going to be $2,000.
Yeah. So you're looking at it gets back to the question of worth. And by the way, this is also why it's so small, because Disney's trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if this is sold out and people keep coming back, there's another wing that can easily be built. I've also heard a rumor that if this is popular, Disney has room in Disneyland to make an Avengers style hotel like this.
Oh, wow.
Where it's the same type of experience, but it's themed to the Avengers campus. So if you think about that, that's pretty cool.
That is neat. That is really neat. That is cool. Well, we're going to be wrapping this up. We want to remind everybody.
How about, Stan, you and I can talk all night.
I know.
And I know we have. So I appreciate you having me. This has been fun. I love the solo show. Tell Panda he's got nothing on.
The Sam and Stan show. Are you kidding me? That's awesome.
I do like that.
Womp Rat Radio every other Thursday live on Facebook.
Live on Facebook and YouTube. It goes there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the next live show, look for it on May the 20th and June the 3rd. And then go from there.
Yeah. So every other Thursday. You can message me. I'll let you know. Or
just hit like on the Facebook page and you'll find it there.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there's also an Instagram account where I post the Star Wars picture of the day from the calendar. I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I do it.
You haven't gotten in trouble yet.
Not yet.
You're also, because you got the Sam Disney Diaries on
Sam's Disney Diary, YouTube. That's where you find all kind of cool stuff.
And for people that don't know and don't recognize them yet, you're a member of the Disney Nerds.
Disney Nerds podcast. That's right.
Yeah, and they're very well known.
We've done this a few times. Getting ready for a trip. I'd love if you can make it to our meet in November, Stan. I don't know if that'll happen, but
I may be doing Disneyland in November. Can you move it to Disneyland for me?
I would move it in a second. I don't know if I could get everybody else to go. But yeah, I would.
Anyways, Sam, this has been great. Hopefully, when we get to dock at Galaxy's Edge or at the Halcyon, we're doing it at the same time and we get to hang out together.
That would be so cool. Awesome. I look forward to it because we will hit record on whatever device we have and we will record it. And dude, there's so much more we could talk about, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for joining me, Sam. And we'll call it a night. Ken, take it away.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to take your turn in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. Tell us your idea for the show, and we'll contact you about a date and a time for you to join us. If you would just like to keep the conversation going or have a comment about a previous show, then visit us on Facebook at The Solo Show. All logos, sounds, and songs that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned solely by the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be, the ownership of The Solo Show podcast. We hope you'll join us for the next adventure on The Solo Show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.